Well, my name is Lisette Dottavio, and I am a senior tax accountant at Boucher Morgan and Young, which is probably one of the larger accounting firms in this area. It's a full-service firm. Most of the partners are Tarleton grads, which is kind of an exciting thing. So when I graduated with my bachelor's from SUNY Buffalo, I had a degree in biology and geography.
I'm Assistant Vice President for Student Life. I got my bachelor's in Ag Communications. It was a brand new degree at Tech many years ago.
My name is Dr. Jennifer Edwards, and I am the Assistant Vice President for Student Success and Multicultural Initiatives and Associate Professor of Communication Studies. Goodness, my bachelor's degree was in communication, and I had an emphasis in journalism as well as speech communication.
My name is Nick Lilly. I'm an assistant professor of English in the English and Languages department, and I'm also the manager of classroom and lab support services for the Center for Instructional Innovation. I earned my bachelor's degree in English and got my BA at the University of North Texas.
I am presently the Executive Director for the Academic Advising Center at Tarleton State University. My bachelor's degree is a Bachelor of Business Administration degree in Management and General Business.
My name is Karen Murray, and I'm currently the Provost and Executive Vice President of Academic Affairs at Tarleton State University. My bachelor's degree was in what was at the time called medical technology. That discipline has since been renamed and is now called medical laboratory sciences.
After graduating from my four-year institution, I actually decided to go on to graduate school. When I graduated, there were not a wealth of opportunities at that time, and so I wanted to gain some more experience. And so I pursued a master's degree in communication studies as well. Well, after attending that four-year institution for my master's and also my bachelor's degree, I had an amazing opportunity to work in multicultural affairs, which was my passion, which still is my passion, multicultural affairs at a higher education institution near the Houston area. So I had to venture away from East Texas. And so that was challenging. That was very challenging. I did not have any family in that area. And so I started my career as the coordinator of multicultural and international student services at that four-year institution. My first job, goodness, here at Tarleton. People at Tarleton have been very welcoming. I did not intend to go into administration at all. Even though I had my higher education degree, I wanted to teach. And even at Tarleton, twists and turns happen in life just in general, but that also takes place in your career as well. So you might actually pursue a degree and then have a career in a field that is totally different than you originally intended. When I was in high school, I had no idea what an assistant vice president for student success and multicultural initiatives was, that it even existed. It probably did not even exist 10 years ago. 15 since I graduated from high school. So, or even a professor. I had no intentions of going into the classroom at all. So my parents wanted me to teach Spanish, and I did not want to teach at all, and goodness gracious, full circle, I am teaching, and I'm not teaching Spanish, but I get to work with very diverse students.
Right after college, I went into the field of human resource management. Was actually employed by the city of Richardson, Texas as a personnel technician. On the recruitment side, the selection process, as well as compensation and benefits. And also was involved in some of the safety and training aspects within the city. Went into the HR area because of my people side of the business degree interest. Decided about a year and a half into my HR stint that I was ready to go back and pursue a master's degree. After I got into the master's program, I was asked to do some teaching, college teaching, which I did do in management as well as in some fresh and business classes. I was asked to then, when I finished my master's degree, consider staying on, and so I did for 7.5 years, and worked in Small Business Development Center, managing that operation, working in 11 rural counties around in and around the Stephenville area, as well as doing some part-time teaching both here at Tarleton as well as at Weatherford College. That went on for about, like I said, so about 7.5 years. I was still also doing some teaching. I was asked to accept a faculty appointment at the same time, so I had a dual appointment for a period of time. And then later in my career, they gave me an opportunity to stay with the SBDC or move into a full-time faculty role. And I made the career switch at that point to go into a faculty position, which I was teaching full-time and got heavily involved in academic advising while a part of that opportunity. A few years later, decided if I was going to stay in higher education, a doctorate is where I needed to be, and so I began to pursue my doctorate, completed that about 5 years later, and then went into a department head role within the College of Business Administration at Tarleton, and about 2 years ago had the opportunity to move into academic advising full-time and accepted the position that I'm in presently.
I started working in Arlington Memorial Hospital, was what it's called then. Now it's Texas Health Resources, Arlington, Texas. It was the third largest emergency room in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex at the time. So I started working there. We had our choice. When we graduated, you could get a job anywhere that particular time, but that's just someplace I was wanting to be in the city where I'd grown up and knew a lot of people in that area. So I started working there in the medical microbiology lab. So did diagnostic testing in microbiology for the first 3 years. About halfway through that, someone came to me and said, "We just signed an affiliation agreement with a university that they want to send their students to Arlington Memorial for internships." I said, "Oh, who's that?" Tarleton State University. I'd never heard of it, made my own choice not too many years before to go to school, not having even heard of Tarleton yet. I was born and raised and lived in Fort Worth. And so my first association with Tarleton was I had Tarleton students interning under me in the laboratory, and for the first time in my life discovered I love teaching. And so at that point in time, things sort of changed. I knew that whatever I wanted to do in the future had to have something to do with education. At that point in time, I thought it would always be on the clinical side. I would always have student interns rotating under me on the clinical side. And that's the point in which I decided, okay, if I'm leading people, I better know something about business and management. And so then I chose to go back and get an MBA and pursue the business side of it. And I got a call from Tarleton State University that said, "Oh, we want you to come lead the program." And so I did, but knew right away that if I was going to go any further in higher ed, I had to have a doctorate. My doctorate's in biochemistry and molecular biology. I got that from the University of North Texas Medical School in Fort Worth, so it's very medically focused. Then that it would be back in that original science that I love so much, because if I was going to teach and do research, it needed to be back in science. But if you look at what I'm doing now, I'm right back on the business side of it, leading using the MBA more than I do my science right now. It was one of the things that my career has been more of a path unfolding, that opportunities as they came about unfolded, changing directions, being willing to embrace those changes and accepting those opportunities as they came about, and then assessing, okay, what do I need to do to credential myself or prepare myself for success in this next level, and taking advantage of that as well. So it's really being open to new opportunities when they unfold, saying yes instead of saying no, but saying yes, and then making sure that you're academically prepared, go back and get the credentials you need and other types of trainings you need to be successful in that next level.
When you start at a new university, you can rewrite your life. It's a good thing to be able to be at a point in your life where you can say, I can do things differently. I can make a change in my life right now. It is never too late.
Probably keep your options open. My expectation was that, I'm going to be this great journalist and I'm going to go in and write stories and change agriculture and represent that field that I feel like is maybe needs to have a stronger voice. Just keep your options open.
Those student organizations, those relationships with faculty and staff are pivotal for one's success in college, and also the classroom content, the projects, the group work that shapes you as well. So make sure that you take advantage of the two to create your total college experience.
I would say, though it was a much different time a number of years back as I was an undergraduate student, I think the opportunities of studying away and specifically studying abroad, with our global economy, with the way our world is, I think taking advantage of that as often as you can will make a great difference in whatever career path a student decides to choose.
When an opportunity comes open, always say yes. Be a risk taker, but make sure you fall through on that commitment then to become prepared or credentialed to deal with that new opportunity.
You're not going to go through life in a linear way. I mean, I know very few people. I know some people who had their career paths charted out, milestones, and they hit them all, and they retired with a lot of money, and God bless them. I don't know the majority of us are capable of doing that or even want to. If you've got that mindset, and in your heart of heart, deep down, that's what you want to do, go for that. I'm not telling you not to. But if you're not sure, life will give you these things that you just, that just come up, or you step through the door and wow, there's something cool to do, or something that's going to make you feel like you're contributing to the world.